So, introducing my specially formulated Soul Style Compass. You can see it on the screen here. This is something that I have devised that helps you pick your path with your own style, your own design, interior design, soul style, and you're going to end up using this to map out your own soul style. Whether you're traditional or modern or practical, those are your primary soul styles, is traditional and modern, and I'll unpack this in a minute. And whether your secondary soul style is practical versus sensual. So basically what happened to me was, as I was working with clients, a couple would walk in and say, well, I'm a really traditional style, but my husband is modern. Or somebody would walk in and say, I'm the real practical type. She's the one that likes to decorate. But the more I would ask questions, so like, okay, well, that's great. So do you like this? And they're like, oh, no, that's not what I mean. And then they would describe something else, And so then I started to realize that there are different sorts of people, like different kinds of traditional and different types of modern. And that what they were talking about was really something that was more internal to them that made them want to express that way, as opposed to, I like this style, as opposed to, I want to have all mid-century modern furniture. Well, no, that's really boring unless you're truly just a great mid-century modern furniture aficionado. You're not necessarily going to want that, even if you have a modern soul style and your main primary internal expression is freedom, and openness and innovation. On the other hand, for instance, I had one of my early participants to this workshop. Her vision board was full of mid-century modern furniture, but it was a very sentimental tie back to her relationship with her father, and they used to go picking all the time, and he had a lot of mid-century furniture and stuff. And so she had inherited it from him. So, and her house, if you go over there, it's really fun, it's very creative, it's colorful, it's cozy, and it's cluttered. I mean, it feels traditional because she is very sentimental. What drives her is her sense of roots and connection with her past and her lineage. And then with practical and sensual, those are soul styles that hide in the background, and they also change over time. But practicalists are driven by a sense of purpose, wanting to get things done, taken care of, have things be taken care of. And sensualists are tuned into all five senses, so they're all about nurturing self and other. But people often confuse practical and sensual with modern and traditional. Like if somebody's a practical type, they might think they're modern, but actually they're practical. And so that kind of loosens things up to where they understand they want organization and cleanliness and workability, and clear. It's clear what this room is for. As opposed to, I like things to be open and spacious, And then the sensual type, a lot of women are sensual types, but men are too, and they often confuse that with traditional. So as soon as they understand that they love layers and color and texture and just warmth and adding those layers and making sure everybody's comfortable, everybody's got a cup of tea if they want it, or whatever they want to drink. Everybody feels like they can throw their shoes up, their feet up on the, and kick their shoes off and put their feet up on the ottoman. Then that liberates them from feeling like they have to be traditional style, because that's not really, yes, the layers happen on the traditional side as well, but for different reasons. So talking about modern versus traditional, when people actually started unpacking for me what they meant by words like modern or traditional, they presented wildly different definitions. We all have a picture in our heads of what modernist might mean, but your picture might be very different from mine. So I started to ask, when you say your style is modern, what do you mean? How does that work for you? I then listened as my client filled in the details, colors, and pictures for me. Based on the additional information, I began to get a clearer picture of that person's specific personal desires within their preferred style. Some people say, well, I really love simplicity, and they might fantasize about having spacious white living room with minimal comfortable furniture and soft neutral tones made out of natural or recyclable materials in a layout that doubles as a yoga room and opens out onto a tranquil Zen garden. That person I would call a Zen modernist. right? They need to have a spot for their yoga mat, or maybe to meditate, or do, things on the floor. They like to sit on the floor, Another person might say, I'm a real gadget person. I want all the latest in home technology. They may prefer an open, clean, smart home with crisp, chrome-framed modular furniture, the latest AV equipment, electronic window shades, and home security, all tied to a single remote which can be accessed anywhere in the world. That person is a techie modernist. And a lot of times that soul style gets expressed in their furniture. They like furniture that has like components that move, or like, exposed metal parts that show how it's made, because they really like technology, So in general, the common denominator among modernists is that they value freedom. Modernists often relish bringing the outdoors in, whether through huge windows that pull in the sky or giant sliding doors that turn the outdoor patio into an extension of the living room, or on a warm, sunny day. The modernist abstract taste for nature in the home has a subtle cause. Many modernists tend to be urbanites. They may also travel a lot and have a busy schedule. Their interest in novelty can lead them into businesses or careers that are fast-paced and hectic. Being situated in an urban setting or lifestyle requires its outlets, and that is where minimalism and nature fill a need. Contrast that with the traditionalists, who may love the outdoors just as much, but may express it with having a vegetable garden to support their canning tradition, or a front porch on which to greet their neighbors, and family stirring nostalgic memories rooted in oral tradition. All right, so that's a snapshot of the modern soul style. Now for the traditional soul style. Again, the more I asked people, the more I started to see kind of two different kinds. One that I would call the home and heart traditionalist versus the historian traditionalist. So they might say to me, well, I love making dinner for my family every night, with all of us gathered around the table. They might say how much they love grilling out with the neighbors or preparing a huge spread for Thanksgiving. This person may dream of having a cozy home to welcome family to the holidays, ample kitchen counter for decorating cakes and cookies, and lots of fireplace ledges, nooks, and rustic tables to place seasonal decorations. I would call them a home and hearth traditionalist. But another person who calls their style traditional might offer life details that are quite different. He is perhaps a bachelor living in an old stately home in a historic town, and may have a passion for collecting historic books and memorabilia, or antiques. For this person, being traditional is less about home and hearth, and more about ancestral or cultural roots, or the aesthetic appreciation of such traditional forms. I call them a historian traditionalist. So the common denominator among traditionalists is that they value roots. The home and heart traditionalist is family-focused, likes maintaining tradition, and is inclined to be community-minded. He or she may be active in the traditional rites of a religious organization, or they may be involved in their neighborhood association or school. They are highly involved in creating regular family or friend get-togethers, and dinner time and holidays are very important to them. The historian traditionalists also enjoy historic or vintage homes, towns, farms, or aspects of a city. This type of person loves the story behind these various places and things. They may enjoy lovingly restoring a historic home over time, appointing it with furnishings of the home's era. There is nothing written in stone about being a home and heart traditionalist versus a historian traditionalist. In fact, both types often coexist within the same person.